Testing.
Ten raiders from Kingslayer Sloan
So, now we're
have
trapped in
joined.
Fisher's mind battling his own
Yamasei
private
Juro
army, and if we get killed,
said,
we'll be lost
Raid.
in limbo till our brains turn to scrambled egg. Hmm?
Now Erds said, "Hello there." Kingslayer Sloan said, "Turn that music down, John." Now Erds.
Oh, testing. Welcome, Raiders.
You sadly.
Welcome, Raiders. Kingslayer Sloan. I am in Singapore. This was just a test stream, actually, ironically.
Said. And that mic on.
Yeah. I had turned it off because I was doing a number of things in order to test the stream, ironically. Terrible. Every single time trying to accomplish something. Let's just win the queen here in this particular one. How is the desktop audio? I guess it's okay.
Jesus Lord, at least record a travel vlog while there.
At least record a travel vlog. Yeah, I've done a little bit of recording from the airport and whatnot. I also have my GoPro. I'm not entirely pleased with how the
mic is a bit loud.
Oh, hold on. Testing. Moving it down a bit. Hopefully that's a little better. Still reaching into the yellow. It's amazing because the mic is so far away from me. I do not have my normal microphone traveling. I'm using the HD 920 webcam, and my light should be disappearing as well. I have a lovely view. Let's see if I can turn this around so that everybody can see the view out the window on average. A lot of ships in the harbor on average. Hopefully I can get my camera set again. Make sure it's pointed in the right direction. Just working it out from Sentosa Island. I am very close to the beach. You actually couldn't see it. I didn't leave it there long enough to see that you could actually walk down to the water from my hotel. I am a stone's throw away from the playing venue, as I chose a nice privately run resort. Let's see here. Check. Check. What if the king moves, if that moves back, then can I move my king forward? Looks like it. So now I'm threatening to play check and mate if the king goes to the h file. And what else? What else am I really threatening? Or do I have this particular move first, which looks pretty fatal? Therefore, if I check and the king goes back to f8, doesn't look as convincing, right? If I check and the king goes back to f8, I can move my king up, but then he removes the defender of my rook with rook takes g6 check. That's no good. So it looks as though this should win material with the threat of bishop e5 check. King h6. Ah. A glorious 10. You can tell I'm tired. Let's just take a look at this again. So if we play bishop to c7, rook on g to f8 check interrupts me massively. So I could have looked at what is my opponent's big idea. That would have been very useful. Mate and 2. Mate and 1 with a pawn. Gotta love that one. I wonder if they saw that in the real game. Who knows? This looks like it's checkmate and 2 as well. Fly up to 10 without any anxiety. Mate and 1. Mate and 2. Mate and 2. Checking the stream bandwidth settings as well. Also had to adjust the camera because of all the hobgob on that side, the coffee maker, tea maker, and all of that. Straighten out the camera when we were there. C'est la vie. Push and push. And is he still not getting there? He's not getting there. Check. Check. Takes and takes. And then we have 2 outside passed pawns. We've got the breakthrough here so that this pawn goes through. Our king is in the square of the pawn on f4, c5 presumably. And we also have this outside pass pawn, which should cause him no end of trouble. For example, oh, I guess no matter what, I get to take yet another pawn. I was not going to be that greedy. I was just going to win that endgame. With the idea of a4 and b3, b2, b1 after f5, f4. So in any event, we got through the worst of it. We could start the stream again with better audio. No words, thank you. Kingslayer Sloan, thank you. Now, why don't I have my normal being able to read the chat in Streamlabs? Very strange. But the good news is I can read the chat in speech chat. Google Speech Chat is also up. Probably my screen is just too small to be able to fit everything. It looks like everything is falling on this diagonal, since that diagonal is covered. King falls last. We're back up to where we should be. We have this check, queen takes. Don't tell me we're not going to reach past 10 again. I'm completely a zombie right now.
Kingslayer Sloan said, John, our podcast is
Dead was a while ago.
Dead was a while ago.
You know, with the time difference being much closer, we may be able to pop something out. I actually would like to comment on the match so far. I'm happy that Gukesh made it back. That was extremely smooth yesterday. I just want to note that Ding did not develop his bishop off of f8, nor his rook off of a8 until it was way too late in the match. It was really, really sad, honestly. Now, it cannot be a simple move like rook f8 because white is threatening queen to h6 checkmate, so it has to be a check, and the only good check is rook f6. Obviously, if king to d5, then possibly bishop to f4 check is the simplest. That's enough to win. +2 advantage? Fascinating. So in this particular instance, is it a ladder mate, ladies and gentlemen? Looks like it. We need to guard our rook, and we need to attack the opponent's king. This is mate in 1, thanks to the pawn helping out. And in this particular example, we are removing the defender. Is this winning enough? Check and takes. Is this winning enough? I don't think we have a choice, actually. We have 2 connected pass pawns versus X. This is mate in 2. There's a lot of things that are dead, possibly decaying, including me. I'm dead physically. Very, very much so. Here's a simple fork. Dead, decaying, died, done, gone. Nice fork. Any counterplay? No counterplay. You'd think that puzzle streak would be a lot easier, but we have 2 rooks to the H file, so this is a nice little mate 3. Here's the 3rd move. We have a very strange layout setup. And in 20 minutes, we have to advertise our Romain Édouard stream as well, as we're going to have our dojo training on schedule. The light may fade, I may be sitting in darkness. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Mate in 1. First 40 of these exercises are actually supposedly quite easy. To be honest. Quite easy. If you maintain that little bit of beeline integrity, then you should be able to pound through them easily enough. This is a fork. In order to win material, the bishop's only defended once. And it's attacked twice. In this particular instance, check, check. Or is it even simpler? Check and then skewer, like trading queens. Even simpler. Being up the exchange. 21. Queen a5 check, picking off a bishop. Pretty standard tactic. Also preventing castling, so therefore they try to trade queens, or they try to slime my queen. So in this particular instance, we're queening with check. And is it enough? We have no time to try to stop his pawn because he can stop our pawn. All right, moment of truth. If we move backwards, he queens with check. Leaves us no choice. Wow. Queen and rook against the pair king. 23. Our rook is hanging. Let's weigh this one up carefully. It looks like a simple taking advantage of the pin, which I could have missed. The forest for the trees. No pun intended. Here we're going to remove the defender of the queen. We have flown to 25. You can see 26 on the dial down below. And now what? This is a very obscure one. Queen to f4, check. Knight pulls back, and we have a material advantage. Is that it? Wow, that was a close one. Not at all clear. Knight captures, bishop captures, knight captures. Math addition here. It looks normal enough. Knight captures, rook captures. Is there something simpler? We can't move our queen. Not easily, because queen takes c1 and bishop d3 are made. Therefore, I don't think we have much of a choice in this instance. What I was concerned about was rook takes knight, but obviously I'll be a queen up in that position. Therefore, I was hallucinating. Here, we have another check on the diagonal, but what does it really do? Or is it just a math problem? Queen takes rook. Right now, we are down an exchange. What could be his big idea? After queen takes, what is the big idea? Do I want to play queen check on the way to taking? No, because then the rook escapes. So we have no choice but to capture, and it is a math problem. Just the numbers of attackers and defenders exercise. It could have been something slimy along the way. But it looks as though we get to threaten checkmate in one move because this bishop was cut off, but he takes our knight. We take back, he takes our rook, and we promote. So it looks like we are good to go. Even in this particular case, our rook was guarded if he didn't take the knight. Moment of truth again. Bishop takes. Taking advantage of a pin. This queen attempts to attack our rook. Get to take with checkmate. So it seems okay here to reach 30. Any other threats? I see no other threats, given the fact that bishop takes b2 check, forces rook takes b2, and queen takes b2 is mate. So he tries to decoy us, but for what reason? Maybe we won't recapture. I see, said the blind man. We could hang our queen. Rook to d1 loses to queen c8. Last bit of danger involved. King a2, rook d2 check, forces mate. Rook to b2. Rook to b2. I don't know, then I have to worry about back rank mates. Queen to d3, fair enough. So this looks like it is one of those age-old exercises where it's mate in 2 again. Check. And it's not mate in 2. So we have rook to d1. We're taking back with check the whole time our rook is guarded. We get away with check, and check, and check, and possibly another ideal mate. So thankfully everybody's here. Oh, wait. Our arena is in 5 minutes. Let's get the notifications out very quickly. I'll do that on my phone while we ponder exercise number 32. How are we doing on exercise number 32? Good question. Our bit rate seems to be holding up. How is the stream holding up? Frames per second, 30. Looks okay. We are in Singapore. I am going to attempt an IRL stream from the GoPro. Apparently, I should be able to do Twitch. That was the whole reason for getting a new GoPro, because the old GoPro did not have streaming from Twitch capability. Do this again. Message all members. Yada, yada, yada. We'll include from Singapore. Unlike other streamers who were letting everybody think they were in Singapore, when they actually were not in Singapore. Not a big deal. How did that work? When I scrolled up, we did lose the top row of the board. I have to be careful of that while we're actually doing this. So we have 1 check, 2 checks, 3 checks. Something was vibrating. I don't know if you felt that. Interesting. How is this going to be a win because of the knight fork? I think the something is vibrating. Interesting. All right, moment of truth. Let's set up the knight fork for number 32. And naively just capture without any fear of retribution whatsoever. Check. The king moves. Oh, it's white to move. Silly me. What am I doing? And that's not even check. See how badly I'm hallucinating here? Ye gads. Ye gads. So white to move. I can stop looking at moving the black pieces. I capture, and he captures back, then we capture, or do we just take the rook? I think we capture. Whatever happens here, oh, he desperados. That's not the way to do it. We also have a knight. Let's just go back in time here for a moment. Obviously, we couldn't capture on e4 because of knight c3 check, and then things are not necessarily going well for us in this endgame. So a takes b6 was the only worthy reply, and after a takes b6, rook takes b6, there's no way to defend this rook from the capture. We have check, check, king moves, rook check, and queen takes. Is that really so convincing? 2 rooks for a queen? Oh no, it's only 1 rook for a queen. Only me.
Nice. Said. Hello sir, please do some king and pawn endgame puzzles and teach us.
King and pawn endgames. That sounds terrific. I'm actually curious as to how this will work out. My favorite endgame study in that regard, I'm only mildly concerned that this is not going to work. But let's just say if I create a new study King and pawn basics. King and pawn, king power basics. How about that? I don't know if I'm allowed to put that in there. Let's take off all of this just so that should anyone and in this chapter, editor, clear board. King power basics. Let's not do that one. Let's do the ever so basic one in this particular position. Right? Almost everybody has been here at some point or another, knowing it. Oops. Let's turn off all that stuff. You gats. I thought we did. Right? So basically, our king needs to reach for the 6th rank, and despite not having the opposition, we have a pawn move to save us. Oops. What's going on here? 1 second. Ah, silly me. Already you can tell how exhausted I am. Having just gotten off of a not quite 19-hour flight to arrive here. Oh my God, I can't believe I did that. But my next one, in order to demonstrate that king technique.
Said, this is too basic, sir. Click on puzzle theme and do some hard ones.
Oh, you're talking about that. I thought you were talking about something else. But I will exercise here one for you. King power basics. All right, you're not allowed to move the rook. This is all for you, Laplace. You're not allowed to move the rook until it is checkmate. You're not allowed to move the rook. Hold on here. Yeah, the rook, I'll retitle the chapter in a minute. You can only move the rook when it's checkmate. So you're going to checkmate with the power of the king alone. Almost all the exercises and the puzzle themes you're saying, right? We can skip over those in a moment. Obviously, the other one, I moved my king without thinking, and then ended up in a, and then pushed the pawn and ended up in a draw when I could have recovered it by moving my king back to e6. Laplace, this is your turn. White to move, sir. Let's do this.
Laplace said, just move the king up and do opposition.
Okay.
Just move the king.
You're absolutely right. And now, it's more than opposition. More than opposition is required here.
Laplace said, yes, those ones I feel them hard. I want to see how a strong player solve them.
Now, interestingly enough, this exercise here is one of the key elements toward understanding those harder ones. We have 7 minutes before our
said, Ca3, Ca3.
King A3, though, and you've given up the opposition. So that careless move will cause you some grief. So you were correct with opposition in this position, right? So after king to b8, you found king to b2, and now, and let's see if you can name the theme here as well.
Laplace said, sorry. Laplace said, KB2.
King b2. Well, we're on b2 right now. So the next one is one of those key things that illustrates the level just beyond.
Laplace said.
Ah,
Ka3.
but if king a3, then king a7, and you've lost the opposition. Note that this theme that you're about to experience is a theme that is relevant in at least 90, if not 95% of the king and pawn endgames. I'm thinking it could be 85%. It could be 85% in king and pawn endings. What do you think? And I'll tell you the theme. Obviously, you haven't named the theme, so this is what's causing the
Laplace
angst.
said. KB3.
Well, by process of elimination, you're going to find it. But notice that king to b3 gives up the opposition.
I haven't seen this kind of positions in my life.
Yes, you actually have. I am just using this as an exercise so that you can get to understand the positions that you are experiencing with a little bit of a new light. And when I learned these exercises, they were usually in very complicated king and pawn endings where they numbered all of the squares.
Laplace said. KC3.
But why is king c3? Why is king c3 the correct move? There are two reasons. One, I cannot play king to c7, and I don't have access to any relative square that can regain control of the position. So when the king goes to c3, you'll see that this is a relative square problem. Now, I usually like to do the other one, right? So let's just say, as you said, that you just do you gain the opposition, right? I also like to call these relative squares rather than opposition. I think relative squares is a better term than opposition when it's farther away from being direct opposition. So usually relatives have the same part of the name, right? So in opposition, they share the name A. Whether one is A3 or one is A6 or one is A4, those are possibly related squares. But now they look a little bit alike. So in direct opposition, you actually get to see that these two squares are both light squares. So when we were approaching this situation, and I played king to b8, and you played king to b2, you found the relative square at a distance because A, the brothers looked alike, and they had the same part of the name that was similar. Then when the king goes to a8, now we have a whole different level of problem. So relative squares in the exercises, because we have to run over to our arena, relative squares, this is the fastest way that I can get you to understand, is when you find squares that the opponent's king cannot control in relation to your king controlling a certain square, such as in the distant opposition where you're trying to get to the same rank as a pawn or something like that. But yes, maybe we will do some of those king and pawn end names to understand where they're going. But first off, the answer to your question about how to solve them is, where are the weaknesses, right? And what's the opponent's big idea? Where are the weaknesses and what's the opponent's big idea? The two major questions in king and pawn end games that you have to be able to answer. If you can figure out which is the weak square, or what square does your opponent need to control in order for you to do it? So this particular exercise, if I play king to a7, in order to get back to our arena, you just have to give me one more correct move. Now these two are totally unrelated. These are really distant cousins to a certain extent. Laplace, what do you think? And then I'll show you the close-up example. I was testing you to see if you actually knew more than just the opposition, and we were right. If you're having difficulty with king and pawn ending exercises, it is because you need to identify the related squares in those instances. And the related squares don't always look alike.
Laplace.
Exactly.
KC4.
And after king a6, you can already tell that because you have a rook on the board, and because you have a rook on the board that can move if it's checkmate, this gives you a license to be able to get to a certain square in this example, which is obviously king to c5. And when the king moves back, now we can resume normal and direct opposition, followed by checkmate. So seeing it up close and personal, on average, where were we? In this particular example, you can actually see the exercise up close and personal. This is sometimes called the bypass. I think in Europe it's mainly called the bypass. And the bypass is available to you. Yeah, exactly. And the bypass is available to you because the king cannot run back. And this is actually an essential trick in order to win a king and pawn ending, in order to bypass the king ahead of the pawn moving. And our arena has started to a certain extent. I don't think I have to worry about the refresh rate, but I am so parched. I am in trouble. Wonder if I have time to grab a water from over there. I also need something for a little bit of fatigue in my shoulder from sleeping on the plane. I was thinking about an Advil. Ibuprofen. Now, because we were a little late to the arena, we did not make it in the first 6 games, in the first 3 games. But hopefully we'll get it in a moment. I'll be right back as I grab both water and ibuprofen. This is my jacket. I have Tylenol. Ibuprofen. It might also be that I'm dehydrated. Because I'm dehydrated, and because I'm dehydrated, it also might be that I haven't had enough coffee because I'm not at home. I can't just make coffee whenever I feel like it. So yeah, king and pawn exercises. If we go to puzzle themes, where is it? Let's just run over here and find one. Endgame? No, I don't want a generic endgame. Pawn endgames, only pawns, right? So this is a very good example of the related squares that we've already been talking about. First things first, we already know that the first move is forced. We can't let cats. Of course, I'm at the hardest possible puzzle exercise. What is going on here? Oh, because the king is so far away, we can attempt to promote first, eh? There's something funny going on with this vibration. I don't know if you're hearing it because it's attached to the base where I am streaming. And now we actually get to the pawn first. But if we go a little bit further, you'll see that this pawn cannot be promoted, and we've reached the key weakness in the position. I didn't answer the questions. Where are the weaknesses? Nor did I answer the question, what is the opponent's big idea? So let's just go with the first one. Let's see why this was wrong. King f4. Because I'm not going to be able to assume the opposition at all, probably. Right? And now we have to actually do exactly what we were talking about. Oh man, I'm not back at my arena already. 1 second. So first off, we have to determine why this one is wrong. Is it because the opponent's king can reach f6 and they can play e6 or e5 with check? That is the question. Or is it because we have no breakthrough? It is because we don't have any breakthrough. That's correct. So we can play this move. And they can literally step here. And we have no breakthrough because of the opposition. And then if we even try to hold out, right? We still don't have any way of breaking through. Is this true? This is not true. This should be winning. This should be winning. So this was just a much easier way to obviously win this. But it looks as though king to f4 should also win this game. But no. King f4, king g6, king takes e4, king f6. And if king to f4, as we already discussed, just e6. And if d6, e5 check, and they walk right over and we're at a disadvantage. It looks like we have the power of the two passed pawns in this particular example. By playing a5, we are able to promote. Oh, we have to take first? Fine. Why do I have it on hardest? Not a good example for you to learn these. I need to be able to get within the square of the pawn, so therefore that was a terrible example, but okay. Basically, I would have pushed this pawn to b3 and then tried to get a check in here. But if this king ever takes this pawn, then he's outside the square of this pawn, which is another important motif. Let's see if we can get a game. But maybe you're right, Laplace. Maybe I do need to be doing more king and pawn endings myself in order to solve my not paying attention to detail problem. You're absolutely correct. You may have helped me out quite a bit. Uh-oh. I didn't do my, what do I need to accomplish in the opening? But we're going to stay with knight c3 for the time being as white, not knowing what other moves we need to play. No Chobava London for me. I prefer the more ferocious white side of the French defense. The much more ferocious white side of the French defense. So Judith Polgar prefers other things, obviously. Just keep developing. See what our opponent has in mind. Whoa. What is up with that? Where is he headed? What does it all mean? Let's just start getting our stuff in with an attack on weaknesses. I am not at the peak of my game, Laplace, so you may have helped me out. Endgames, by the way, are not studied so much for their endgame ability. I mean, for absolutely being able to win the endgame. Endgames, on average, are studied in order to learn the piece coordination and the calculation skills that are needed in order to win more complicated positions leading to those end games. What in the world? My opponent is allowing me to play for even more. I must have a pawn after this, right? Is there any reason to believe that this should be any more tricky than any other thing? Knight to g5, queen to c, bishop h7. All right, I'll go for it. I just have to see what's going on here. I just need to see it. It looked like we also had a very clever opportunity to do more damage. Notice all these weak squares. The queen does seem to cover most of them, though. Is it what he needs? Is it? It definitely can't be pinned. And this being hanging and all. That being hanging, that being hanging. Remember, we're pawn up. We are a pawn up. So he wants to trade queens. Interesting. Okay. Let us consider trading queens on our own terms. And now for something different. Takes, 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 takes. Again, the g6 square is a little weak. We are a pawn up. Am I concerned? Being pinned and all? Yes, I am concerned. Let us not be pinned. We have a weak back rank. That is somewhat annoying. How far is he willing to go? All right. Queen, rook, queen. Let's just batten down the hatches. Keep everything relatively straightforward. How much do I have to concern myself with? Another free pawn? Perhaps. And the winner is another free pawn? Perhaps. Good news is we have the G5 square under control. So what is it that we're concerned about in this position? Rook e5, queen takes e5. Make sure there is no Gegenspiel here. No Gegenspielen. And now he loses his rook. Or does he? I guess he doesn't lose his rook. Maybe he does lose his rook. All right, too many weaknesses in that position. Too many weaknesses. Water, left my water out. Gives me a good excuse to take a break. I love it when the hotels provide water. Relatively key. 37 minutes left. The lights are coming on in the harbor. Kingslayer Sloan. Namaste, sir. French Bishop chess cast. Decaying. Check out the French Bishop chess cast connections. So, I don't think we need any more Frenches. I certainly could use some more Caro-Cans. A little late to take back my move. Oh, that was a silly move. A very silly move on my part. But we will counteract it in the normal manner, just by pretending as though we did not lose face on that. I forgot that our opponent likes to do that type of thing. Interesting. All right. Fair enough. We definitely need that bishop on vacation. We needed that bishop on vacation. be able to threaten 2 pawns simultaneously. What is this vibration? I think it's coming from my phone, but I'll put my phone on the other one. I could have pre-moved that. Am I concerned? Of course I'm concerned. Knight takes f7. Obviously, a threat. My whole king's existence is in dire straits. We are analyzing ahead, of course, against any obvious moves like that one.
Jenish from Nepal said, "You beat my friend in first game."
I did. I am mildly sorry about that. Not too sorry, mind you, but mildly sorry. And let's see here. Here a check, there a check, everywhere a check, check. I do need to pretend as though nothing is going wrong here.
Jenish from Nepal said, "I will take his revenge."
Okay. Fair enough. You are taking a revenge. You may need to leave some revenge as well while you're at it. Can I do that? I cannot do that. That's a bummer. An entire rook. It's craziness. All right. Fair enough. I cannot.
Jenish from Nepal said, "How are you losing against 1,500?
I think that you have it all wrong. It has nothing to do with being a 1,500. It has nothing to do with being a 1,500. It has everything to do with whether or not
Jenish from Nepal said, I think it has. Jenish from Nepal said, ha ha ha.
No, it just has to do with our ability to be able to play good chess at any given moment. That's all. Being able to play good chess at any given moment. I made a mistake. I did not pay attention to the detail that my queen had to guard the bishop on g2 and the rook on d4. I should have supported my rook with e5 instead and gotten that thing going. Just being down the exchange was not so bad. I had the safer king for that period of time. So because I had the safer king, I wasn't as worried or as concerned. My rating is under 2,000. I must have lost somewhere previously. Yeah. Absolutely hysterical. All right, ladies and gents. Is it still the Carl Khan? Why not? The Carl Khan worked out so well the last time. Is it knight f6? This is the clever move. This is the clever move indeed. So our light is working out okay, despite the dimming of the dawn of the harbor lights, the twilight. Our light is doing okay. Means we get 2. Oh no.
Sinijijo said, hello, I am Sean2913 on Lycus.
Shinjijo, how are you? You got me the other day, you said, but I didn't really play that game, so I'm not sure if that counts as a loss. I do regret not being there for that game. That much is true. I do regret not being there for that game. I think I told you on stream, if you were watching on stream, I do regret the fact that can I do it this way? I think I can. Do I want to play it with knight a6? A takes b, bishop takes b. I am up a pizza. So however we are up a pizza, still pinpointing weaknesses. And now for something completely indifferent. I mean, I would like to trade pizzas, sir. I really would. I still was expecting him to play b4. Still trying to figure out what's vibrating on this table and if you can hear it online. Might be something on the wall. Let's throw this check in, since we can. We'll throw in a brief checkup. I had hallucinated that it wasn't possible because can I return the piece? I guess we're about to find out. Can I return the piece?
Sinijajo said, I really feel guilty of winning that game with you which you didn't play.
I felt just as guilty for not showing up, sir. It's not a big deal. It happens in arenas. It's one of the reasons why I ran Swiss tournaments. In Swiss tournaments, you don't lose any rating points for forfeiting, but you are banned for 24 hours if you don't show up for a game. I think the very first time it happens, you're given a warning. The very, very, very first time you're given a warning. All that work and I still didn't go over 2,000. I blew the fuse in my room, trying to plug all of my equipment in. Had to have maintenance come. It was touch and go as to whether or not we were going to make it. That's for sure. Hopefully my sound isn't on in Instagram as I clicked on that notification. God help me, as it might impact my... Oh, and I didn't finish that either.
Said,
I didn't finish updating the Society of Billiards.
By checkmate.
Right? That's important. So Sean, I actually thought that you were much closer, Sinja Joe. I was thinking of a friend of mine who teaches in chess in the schools in New York City when I was thinking of Sean 2913. But it could also be February 9th, 2013, meaning that you are less than 20 years old. But that's beside the point. All right, we're continuing on the knight c3 trail. I do believe that knight c3. Let's go with a Scandinavian. Oh, we're not going with a Scandinavian. Alan Buselko, what are you up to here, sir? Giving up the center like this. Where are you headed? So it's better than, I repeat, better than a...
Sinijajo said, yes, I am only 11 years old.
Are you? But I feel even more guilty that I did not show up for our game, because all young players deserve to have the experience of playing against good players. You absolutely deserve that. That experience of being able to play against good players. My opponent has left the game. Is his connection really that spotty? This connection is non-existent now. Apparently he's from Puerto Rico. Oh no, that's the Philippines. I don't know why I saw the triangle and I immediately thought that it might be. My mind was on Puerto Rico as the election results were decided. Fine. Let us see what my opponent is up to here. So now, is this still winning? No, it's not. Unfortunate. What? Okay. Oh, I'm pinned? Is that the story? That's a bummer. I am pinned. So knight takes, and he gets to throw stuff in the way, which is a little bit of a bummer. Just a little bit of a bummer. We have knight to g5 as well. So what do we got? We have a rook for our queen. And we're just going to have to be patient. We've got actually two rooks for our queen, considering that rook cannot get into the game. Right? And we have another rook coming in. He's going to love the next rook that comes into the game. But I'm not a big fan of interesting. That was not the move that I was considering. Let's check the analysis board on that one. Wow, we are still +4 in that position. He takes d6, threw my advantage away. And then we worked our way to king f2. And rook to d8 did throw away the game because I get to capture on e6, but I could also just play bishop g5. That would be more convincing. So takes, takes. And then after e takes f7, king f7, knight takes d1, we're still +3. And then he played a6. Had he played knight h4, I was planning on trying to play knight to g5. But apparently knight e4 works too, removing the defender of the e8 square. Knight takes f3, knight takes d6, and I'm still threatening rook to e8 check. So knight e, whoops. So knight takes e1. And I'm attacking the bishop, which he saves. And that pawn on f7 is just a godsend. Fascinating. So far, so good. We're back over 2,000 in rating. So you're quite good, Sanjijo. Where are you from? By the way, I should tell you where I am from first. I was born in Colorado. I played chess all over the Midwestern part of the United States when I decided that if I needed to become a master, I had to move to New York. And because I moved to New York, I became a master within a couple of years, based on my circumstances, how long it took me. But at the end of 1987, I decided to move to New York, and by the end of 1989, I became a master. All right, we're still playing this. If we don't move, we are in trouble. This is a Scandinavian. This is possible. Knight to c3, queen to d5, knight to c3, queen to d6, and you get back to the Scandinavian territory that we all know and love. He's threatening to bother me. I don't like it one single bit. Not one single solitary bit. We're going to see what he can do in original position. There are a lot of interesting moves for black in this position. Giving up the bishop was not necessarily one of them. Not really one of them. I did not plan on that. But I do want to desperado. So what can I do? In time on the queen, offer it back to him. Offer him interest there. I gave it back to him with interest, and we will see. If he sees that his queen is in a spot of trouble, let's see what I can get for this enterprising, lesson understanding move. We'll see how many pawns we can get from him just now. What in the world? Is queen f7? My God, this has gotten uglier than I thought. All right, I don't have a choice. I need him to walk out in front of this mess here. So now I'm only down a random rook hit the it's still enterprising.
Sinijajo said, I am from India.
Wow, did he trap my queen? It certainly looks like it. That's a bummer. I have only one thing to do. Oh no, and then I lost even more material. Looks like I am going to lose to a 1500 after all. C'est la vie. What can I do? How is this happening? My opponent only needs to coordinate his pieces here.
Sinijajo said, I am gonna play my first FIDE rated tournament at 30th of November. It's 25. Any advices?
I do believe in Puzzle Streak. You should have a very solid Puzzle Streak score. Sean 2913. Whoops, if I spelled it right. So the first 40 are very easy, by the way. You've got no Puzzle Streak score at the moment. No Puzzle Streak score. I believe in Puzzle Streak because it gives you realistic interpretations of positions where you do have to try to struggle for an advantage. These are very realistic positions all the way through in all phases of the game. It's maybe our last game. I don't know if we need a Caro-Kann, but I will find out if we need a Caro-Kann after this. Everyone has played E4 today, it seems. We're gonna play like what's his name? Let's just attack that bishop. Really? Did I lose a pawn? Maybe. Maybe. Wow. This is absolute craziness, folks. Absolute craziness, Moneypenny. How did we end up on top of that one? I don't know. We do need that discovery. That is indeed a bum air. Somehow, we reached a very strange endgame. Is this pawn going to be the one? Takes. King G1. B5. I don't want to be on the worst end of it. Looks like we have a draw. That's what it looks like to me. Looks like we have a draw. Wow, I got my king into the game too. Minority attack, ladies and gentlemen. Oops. And he's outside the square. He did not think this one through.
Jenish from Nepal said, "We didn't get paired, should."
We did not get paired. Watch the language, sir. No Gegenspiel. Once again, I was extremely lucky. That last end game was not good. Rue it. It's better to be lucky than good.
Sini Jajo said, "Any other arenas?"
You all should. ish. No other arenas. We are going to take this show on the road. I need to check out the World Championship venue, make sure that my tickets are good. Thank you, everyone. Namaste. Namaste. It is a pleasure. It is great to have everyone here. Oh, I do have that other thing open. That much I didn't realize. Meanwhile, back at the ranch.
Laplace said, "Can you show the final ranking?"
Can I show the final ranking? Yes. Sean 2913. What happened, buddy? Yeah, but I absolutely insist that you'd work on Puzzle Streak, Sean. Jinjo. Chinjo. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right.
Said,
Chinjo.
"Can I challenge you?" Laplace
Not right now. I'm gonna try to get out of
The
here
tournament is over, but
and
I am still playing
appreciate
with
some of
someone like
Singapore
you
as
here.
the lights have fallen on the harbor. But I appreciate you being here. I appreciate all of you. Most important thing everybody can do at the moment is subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check out my best games if you don't check out the Chess Informant Learning stream.
Okay, will do.
Check out the Chess Informant Learning stream because I do a quiz-like format where you do need to pause the video and apply yourself and try to find the right moves.
Laplace said,
You did get fourth.
"I got fourth."
Laplace, nicely done. I can't follow many people, so if I accidentally have to unfollow you, I can only apologize because I have to follow the students in my school as well, and I have over 400 students in my kindergarten through 12th grade school, so it's not that easy, ironically, to follow everybody. Fourth place, nicely done though. That was very, very cool. Nah, who do we raid? Chessable Black Friday shopping and 2400 stream. Fascinating. Let's go with Sadistic Tushi.
Jenish from Nepal said, "Swiss is better than Arena."
Swiss is better than Arena. You got spoiled by it, right?
Chess person said, "When are you going to stream again? Sorry, I just joined." Jenish from Nepal
I am
said,
hoping to
"Do
be
you want to
streaming
play one
shortly
game
from
because we
the
didn't get paired?"
event IRL. I'm going to debate whether or not I can use my phone,
Said,
if I can use
"What is the best chess app course for learning?"
best chess app. Chessable is quite good at learning tactics and endgames because of the repetition. I absolutely love it on average. Let me roll the ending credits before I forget. Hopefully those ending credits will roll. I'm not sure if they're set up here, but thank you all for being here. I am going to be doing tournament game recaps as well on Lichess. Game 3 inspired me to do some tournament game recaps also because I want to do them in a short amount of time. Thank you all for being here.
Jenish from Nepal said, do prize tournaments. Laplace said, can you recommend some chessable course?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I will recommend them next time.